Hello everyone, this is Maffuman, comes with StarCraft Star Battle. This is a 6-on-6 ship for the action game starring Bolivar. Bolivar is going to come on in there with 1.81 speed as well as Electromagnetic Storm. Looks like Nikos is going to come on in there 1.71 speed as well as range and longbow missiles at 1 upgrade. 2 frigates. First frigate is Rambles. Rambles is going to come in there with 1.61 speed. Lots of backlash rockets, 3 upgrades on that with a little bit of money left over for range. Monkeyfoot coming in there, 1.71 speed, more speedy, longer range, but only 1 upgrade on his backlash rockets. Igam gonna come in there with 1.61 speed and double the range right there. Looks like Archer is gonna be there as well with bringing up the caboose, 1.71 speed and electromagnetic storm. It is Thor's Day. It is the storm build, doing some area effect damage. Now it looks like Nathan Season went in there for EMP. EMP is gonna be the energy drain ability. And he's going to see what he wants to use it on. Arbiter, great target right there. Can he get both? Will he get both? Boom, hits Bolivar right there. Looks like he's red side. Get OSC, going to be there. 1.61 speed. Particle disruptors, interceptors at 1 upgrade and range right there. Emperor Trump, going to be there. 1.82 speed. No range though. Does have warp. Shlowski. Going to be 1.61 speed, battlecruiser with longbow missiles at 1 upgrade on his range. John the Overlord. John the Overlord used his plague. It looks like he hit Nikos, and he also hit Rambles at some point. Because you can tell that because he went through, did some damage to the hull. Plague ignores hull or ignores shields, burns right through on the hull. Great way of doing some damage. Almost a requirement as an Overlord to start off with that. It's not necessarily, it's just one of those, like, if you don't get it, you should probably make the announcement, because it's just so helpful. People assume that you have it. Looks like the double battlecruiser is going to move on in there. Red side is in the position where they have to be back. Looks like Sunslinger hasn't quite upgraded yet. He is starting to move just now, 1.41 speed. Let's see what he ends up spending his money on. But because of the effective 5 versus 6 scenario, as well as having so many missile boats on the blue side, they were the ones who are going to be in the dominant position right there, making up some money right there. 840 so far to 530. Let's see how far they can get up there while they are farming. One side's always going to farm a little bit more effectively because of team composition, because of errors. If somebody gets off sides and gets caught, then EMP, great shot right there. Then one side is always going to be able to farm effectively, get to the Goldilocks zone, but then they have to go back eventually. It's just how much money they get in the meantime. Rambles using those wraiths to farm up on the side. Nikos is in laser range, but he's launching his wraiths to farm with the 1-shot, 2 upgrades right there. Beautiful Plague though. Plague is fantastic to use against anybody, but especially good to use against mechanical ships, especially good to use against mechanical ships without healing. That means that, frigates and arbiters. So with that, the red side is going to make their way on out. Blue side is going to make their way on back. Monkeyfoot's going to get a little bit greedy and try to get that money, but he has that 1.71 speed, so he's actually relatively safe. Looks like Ramble's going to go off to the side. He has 612 and wants to get a little bit more, so he's going to launch his wraiths, see what's in the area. Nikos 756. We got Bolivar 538, Archer 734, Agam 670, Monkeyfoot 856. Now most ships, actually every one of these ships has to go back to base, and then they can upgrade. They can choose to either upgrade or install. I kind of use them interchangeably. I try to make sure that I say install if I mean some fancy stuff, and upgrade if I just mean their base abilities. Biggest thing about this game is to kind of balance out what you really want to do. Sometimes it's fancy, sometimes it's basically just getting your stuff together. 1.82 speed, increases speed by 2, more range and missiles. Looks like Archer is going to choose the other option that you can choose is basically I'll buy all the fancy stuff you could possibly want. As an Arbiter, especially as any support unit, it makes some sense to buy all this fancy stuff. He had Electromagnetic Storm, he wanted Chrono Boost because it's cool. The feedback is a great ability. However, he also only has 475, so while he has many abilities, he also has to kind of be judicious on what he wants to use. He can't press all the buttons all the time just yet. He would need to basically buy some fancy stuff and hope that that fancy stuff helps his team farm up a bit. EMP being used on Bolivar. Bolivar has feedback as well. Energy War is officially on, and it looks like the teams are relatively even when it comes to the Energy War. So far, Bolivar and Archer have feedback. Nathan Season has EMP, but battlecruisers can get locked down. Doesn't look like either the battlecruisers have it right now, or Emperor Trump has it right now. So theoretic, and John could get Siphon Energy. However, he doesn't have it just yet. Focusing on that plague, which he's using very well right now. Burning Way Monkeyfoot, Burning Way Nikos. Looks like good OSC went for some very early temps. Early temps are great. Temps are good in general. However, when they're early, that also means they're weak. Only 17 range, only doing 180 right now. But it does provide that little bit of defense right there. Makes the blue side have to either go around them, or if they're going to go through them, take a bunch of damage. Again, trying to farm. He has 4 needle spines. Fantastic second upgrade to get. He had the range for it, now he went for the 4, so he can one-shot these little farm ships, and that makes him die quicker, that makes him make more money more quickly, and he has up another minute or so until the 10-minute mark, and that means that he can one-shot farm. After the 10-minute mark, the little boys right there, Vikings get a little bit stronger, and they probably won't die to needle spines right there. Monkeyfoot taking a whole bunch of damage, but having some buddies right now. Bolivar being EMP'd, can't transfer his energy anymore, and Archer right there do keep Monkeyfoot alive. He does get plagued though. He's going to have to need more. He's being burned. Will he get back to the base? There are interceptors. The interceptors are relatively weak, and they were taken out. Monkeyfoot makes it back to the gas, and I think at that point he's going to be a little bit safer. This gas provides a little bit of area protection, and that means that he won't be able to be focused killed. He is going to burn though because he's in the heavily damaged. 1, 2, I think about 3 plagues, and it's a guarantee that the Fergus going to burn down. Even just 2 plagues, he'll get pretty close to the point where he's going to automatically be burned. Very slowly burns the shields, then burns the hull. But he can't heal himself. There's no repair bots for or biosteel. Looks like those would be great things to get. Rambles gonna try to defend right there. He has about 800 money, trying to just defend the base right there. Very weak Tempest, but present Tempest from Sunslinger as well as Ghetto. Just now you can't necessarily tell them what to shoot, but they are just in this area. That means that the blue side moving in is going to have to take some damage. It looks like Nikos takes an EMP as well, and these storms are on Nikos. They hit him, however they don't do damage to him. Relatively recent patch, the electromagnetic storm doesn't do damage to your allies or the interceptors or anything like that, or yourself. However, it just was hitting the Tempests. Tempests do have 100 shields, 200 hull damage, and this does 125 to light units, plus 242 extra damage to light units, or it does 1475 to massive units, plus 242 extra damage every time that you upgrade the energy ability. But with that, with so many plagues, Bolivar is actually going to have to get back to base. Shalowski, moving up the side, trying to farm, has laser batteries. It has the 10-minute mark though. Looks like Ramble's going to fly up the side. EMP being used on Agam and Rambles. Nathan's going to take some damage because of Rambles' missiles at 10 upgrades already and 11 range. However, he did get the EMP. The EMP happened not to be as effective because he went so much into missiles that he didn't have any other abilities. He only has warp, and he wasn't trying to use it right then. However, usually anything you can EMP is great, and if he does get an ability, then it would be more effective right there. Feedback being used on Trump. It looks like Rambles is going to fly along the side. He just wants to provide some area of effect damage, but these Tempests are really well placed, and they're going to keep on flying because they can't hit anything. Once they can shoot something, they will shoot something. But because of that, they're just going to slowly move on up. These Tempests are kind of house Tempests spawned by the blue side. There's a equivalent unit, the Sky Fury, which is going to pop up relatively quickly for the red side. The EMP being used. Monkeyfoot taking a whole bunch of damage. Only has Bolivar and Archer, but Bolivar and Archer also run for other abilities, and when they use their energy, they have less energy to transfer to their allies. It recharges 100 shield points per second because he upgraded it slightly from 60 to 100, but drains 6 energy per second. Archer, 100 as well. Bolivar, or 60, yeah. Looks like, and that's just that he wanted to spend that money to make sure he can transfer more energy into shield. And it looks like Agam has 2 abilities. He has Dark Swarm, and he also has Spawn, Broodlord, and Corruptor. He has about 800. Archer, 267. Nikas, 649. Rambles, 468. Bolivar, 186. Agam. Let's see if he ends up getting the ability where he can turn some of his own life into energy, which Adrenal Overload. Looks like the scan's being used. Now there's no surprise board raise or anything like that, but he does use scan to make sure that they're kind of all where he thinks that they are. Monkeyfoot moving around. He knows he wants to take out John. John is relatively weak if you can get him into a good corner. However, you have to actually get him into a good corner. He knows that he's a weak little blimp who has very cool abilities, but can't take very much damage. So he's just trying to avoid Monkeyfoot. Even though he wants to do some damage with his cool abilities like Plague, which he upgraded, he doesn't want to take damage in order to do that. Beautiful use of the gas right there. Plagued him right in the face. These Tempests will be taken out, but are providing some area of damage right there. Looks like we have Slowski, 260, Ghetto has 522, 380 from Nathan, John 430, Sunslinger 368. The money is relatively starting to get in the blue side's favor. It does shift back and forth. However, usually the attacking unit is going to have a little bit less while they make up for it. But it looks like they were able to maintain their farm advantage. And especially with 2 carriers, carriers are just such energy intensive or money intensive units that they would, even if they were a little bit ahead, they would almost be even. So it looks like the blue side is farming relatively well. Looks like they will be trying to get back to base though, not take too much damage. Looks like these Broodlords are upgraded 3 times Broodling Strikes. I can't click any of the Broodlings because they're probably killed. Nikas moving back. Moonwalking back has 3 abilities. Beautiful, swing and a miss vortex right there. Does not catch any battle cruisers and does not catch any blue side. Scan being used just to see that they're not around the sides. Again, trying to make as much money as he possibly can, but also putting himself in danger. Looks like the Tempests are coming up. The gas is providing a little bit of protection. The missiles are being launched against the Interceptors. The Interceptors are relatively weak, only at 11 upgrades because he went for very early Tempests, because the Tempests are so expensive. He's going to fly around the side trying to make money. However, Rambles is upgraded his laser battery 7 times, so he's one-shot farm. He's also wrecking these Interceptors relatively well. Nikas flying backwards, using his protective defensive shield, showing off the orange, orange thing right there. Defensive shield surrounds the battlecruiser with the shield that can absorb 2100 damage. You can upgrade how much more damage it is. It doesn't have an armor count, so it's just straight 2100 damage. However, it's 2100 damage that the Tempest would have to make up for it. At the moment, that is quite a bunch of Tempest shots. And eventually, that isn't very many Tempest shots. Looks like these Sky Fury is going to come on in there, flying in from base, hot off the presses, firing against Agam. Agam is going to move on in there. He does have acid, corrosive acid to reduce armor count. And with all these Tempests, he's going to fly in there and take some more. He doesn't have the Adrenal Overload right now. And that probably is a good thing to get eventually. John flying in. He's out of energy. He has some cool abilities, but has only 525 potential energy. So he doesn't have it to spend on Plague, doesn't have to spend on Contaminate or Siphon until he, I guess, can Siphon somebody, or just wait a little bit until that comes on back. The Wall of Tempest, the Golden Armada, is slowly moving on up. Because of that, the blue side is moving on back. Looks like, again, going to move on back to base, 571. We'll see what he ends up spending it on. Monkeyfoot flying in there, trying to use as much of the gaseous protection as possible. However, the PDD blocking a lot of his shots right there. PDD blocks the laser batteries as well as backlash rockets. He can only use the laser batteries to kill off these Tempests, but the PDD blocks that from happening. up to 200 shots, and that's a whole bunch of shots, even though he shoots relatively quickly at at 0.18 speed. And looks like Frigate's going to fly on the side using Wraiths to try to take out the Tempest. Similarly, will be blocked as well. However, is a little bit safer because the Wraiths are at 20 range, and the Kinetic Overload is at 18. Nika's flying in. We got some orange on orange action right here with Shlosi. The EMP being used. We have the Wall of Tempest flying around. Nikas, you gotta fly up and around, but that does extend how much time he's gonna take missile damage. Will Shlosi move in there? He does try to do to kill him. It doesn't quite do enough. Tempest moving on the side. We got some sneaky Bolivar warp trick action right here. Bolivar, Archer. Looks like there is. Oh, there is no stasis right now, but warp using that that chrono boost on the Guardian that speeds up how fast he can shoot all of his cool abilities. The red side is wise to their tricks. They do know that something's happening. Vortex being used does catch the Frigate this time. Along that, he's going to use the rocks as protection to make sure he doesn't do too much. Emperor Trump's being there. The Guardian boings into the rocks and then into the Vortex. Emperor Trump's flying on the side, taking a whole bunch of damage. The Vortex is finally over. We have Soloshi moving around. He is protected by his own defensive shield. He's out of energy for that until the next, 20 more energy right there. John moving in there. Beautiful Plague gets 1-2 shots. PDD being used, blocking so much. We can see it just every time it shoots, it just gets one less energy, and it is now officially out. But look how much damage it blocked from Nikas to anybody else. Shaloski's gonna move on back to base with 750. We got Nathan Season surviving. We got Agam trying to do some damage. He is not quite able to get any kills right there because these Tempests are just very weak, but they are present, adding some extra stuff. The PDD blocking what he can. John using that Plague right there on Monkeyfoot, and that was a great defense from the blue side. The red side. Able to retreat from base. Blue side not quite able to kill. We got Agam using that gas to give himself some protection, and the battle station is quite hurt. Will the blue side be able to kill it? Possibly not, because the red side is going to move on up there. Shalosi moving around. But look at this. Both of these battle stations are relatively hurt. They will repair their shields faster than they repair their hull damage, and so that might or might not be back by the time the blue side makes their next attack. However, they were unable to pick up somebody right there. Emperor Trump moving up. He has a missile pod, and that's just about all. 325. Missile pods are going to do some area of effect damage. That can help if they're all clumped up. It's not usually designed that. Beautiful Vortex again being used. The frigate. It looks like blue side, they're going to have to decide whether they want to save their buddy or not. We have, again, flying around. That Darkstorm is allowing him to survive. Otherwise, these Tempests would be all over him. Vortex being used from Sunslayer on Agam right there. Beautiful cloak being used to protect Monkeyfoot. It looks like Nikas is going to fly on back. Will they try to do the protection round for Agam, or is he just surrounded by pretty much everything? It looks like he is. He has a whole bunch of health. He did upgrade his health from 14,000 to 16,000. Is that going to be enough? The Storm, again, only killing the opponent's ships, and that does, I think, save him right there, especially with the Cloaking Field. Cloaking Field from this Arbiter, Archer. Bolivar doesn't have it. So Archer provided a little bit of area of cloaking, which blocked vision because you can't shoot somebody. You can't if you can't see somebody, you can't shoot somebody. Beautiful Plague swings and does hit, just barely catches it. He upgraded the Plague to from the basic Plague to the Super Plague, and Super Plague does cost 50 more energy. However, goes up from 1200 damage to 1600 damage. Now there's a call for BO. Stinky time. We got Agam moving around. We got Bolivar, 209 still. We have all these people healed up, basically back to base. Rambles moving in there. He's just sticking with Backlash Rocking. That's not the worst ability. He is a long distance damage dealer. He's very fast, 1.92 speed. He's got the range. He just wants to do that damage. However, right now he is also blocked by PDD. He could get Rip Wave. He doesn't have it just yet. Rambles doesn't have it. Monkeyfoot doesn't have it. But their missiles are just so high that they pretty much have to rely on PDD to protect them. or they have to rely on their own defensive shield, or they have to just never be attacked. Like John, he is a high damage dealing unit. He's a cool mage. He's got some cool fancy stuff. He definitely cannot take damage for very long. And with that, the red side is going to have to try to protect him. Nikas, move it in there. He has Vortex on him. He's Vortexed from Ghetto. Sunslinger's Vortex is the available one right now. Will he end up using it? Emperor Trump taking a whole bunch of damage, and he will be taken out. Vortex used, it is relatively close to base, but that was not quite enough. Trump is down. It looks like Sunslinger going to move on in there. He's got those, he's setting up his Tempest Wall. Will this be enough? It will hurt him. However, there's also Phantoms. Phantoms are going to provide that little area of, a Illusiary unit that will tank some damage for them. Red side loses somebody, unable to pick up anybody in return as well. Again, trying to farm. He knows that he's lower on health. He has less than his full amount. However, he's just trying to use Darkstorm to protect himself. Nathan letting us know that there is no BO just yet. No blackout would definitely help against a lot of these units. However, it does cost 400 money, so he may have prioritized other things right there. And sometimes just because you can spend the money on something doesn't mean you are going to be able to do it, or it's the best thing to have right now, even if it would be helpful. There's very few times when blackout wouldn't be helpful. However, if you don't have the speed, if you have other things, if you're relatively lower on shields, maybe that was something to spend money on. Looks like Shilowski's moved on in there. He is going to just have the lockdown. He's also entering the energy war right now. Lockdown drains 10 energy per second for 10 seconds, 100 energy. However, it also stops the unit from using their abilities, which is almost more helpful. Right there, Rambles is going to have his energy drain. He doesn't have any right now. He actually chose to upgrade his energy once, and he's either a mistake or just a distraction. Looks like Archer going to move on back. 254 still. We have Monkeyfoot. Everybody moving back. This is the time that the red side is able to farm. Will they do it right there? Looks like we got some sneaky Guardian action, but it is spotted by the PDD. The PDD itself is going to provide some things. The red side is going to abandon their babies up there. The Tempest not as helpful if they get caught. Second time around, the Vortex. Oh, the feedback was used. Sunslinger can't use his Vortex. Looks like Ghetto did get his off. Is that the correct again? I think it is. Yes, it is. We have Shilowski moving around. We got Contaminate being used against Nikas and Monkeyfoot not shooting as fast as they possibly could. These Tempests being set up as well, using Kinetic Overload to attack, and will the blue side be able to pick up a kill right there? We got a nuke coming in from Shilowski, and Shilowski is hit by Sunslinger with the Vortex. The nuke does possibly, yes, connect on Shilowski. However, he has so many shields, and he's using his defensive shield. He was able to survive right there. Will the PvD protect forever? It won't, but the Interceptors are going to try to attack again. Again, has Needle Spines at 10 upgrades, so 28. The Interceptors have 7 armor. Interceptors 14 and 13, because the Tempest and the Vortex cost so much money. Neither of them had enough money to put very much into Interceptors. 615, 600-ish. We got John 183. It looks like with this, the blue side unable to get a kill for the second time. However, they are just going to farm. These Tempests are super slow. They're going to move on up there. 500 damage though once they do get into position. Rambles playing, bringing around the rosy with this battle station, kind of going in and out of range. Just the tip a little bit to launch these backlash rockets and pulling on out a little bit more, seesawing back and forth, and this action will eventually take out the battle station. It can only ever attack at 10 range. He is at 12 range, but it is sort of hard to to stop in space. So this Vortex being used. Oh, the Vortex would have caught everybody right there. However, the feedback was just in time. It would have literally caught everybody, including a bunch of phantom units. However, the feedback did protect, drain the energy from Ghetto. He has 625 potential, and he does use it again. He is feedbacked again. No more catching people. He has 625. potential energy, and that is very quick. He can take a feedback. He can take 2 feedbacks in a row and still have 200 left over for Vortex. Nikos moving back, and this time I'm actually going to click on them before they actually get the back to base. We got 281 from this very injured Bolivar Arbiter. We got 628 from Monkeyfoot, Nikos 419, Archer 299, Rambles 1072, but will he make it back to base? He will get plagued. He will get zapped. He will get every ability in the book against him. He possibly will make it back to base though. He has relatively quick, and I did still miss the Guardian. But still, looks like Rambles doesn't make it back to base. It looks like Nikos has so many abilities, including Nuke, including Defensive Shield, including Scatter Sweep and Missile Pods. Missile Pods doing a little bit of area of effect damage against Tempest. Hey, anything you could possibly do is great. He's going to get plagued, though. Red side says, every time we've attacked and stayed up for too long, they've tried to come around the side. So we're just gonna retreat more quickly this time. They've had really good, defense, and especially with double Vortex. And does Nathan have Blackout? He does. Both of those are great. However, you don't want to rely on that, on your ability to get out of a bad situation if you have the option of not being in a bad situation in the first place. 1.61 speed, super slow Ghetto. 1.71 speed, a little bit faster for him. We got Ghetto for about 400ish, 280. John has 375. We got Shlosi at about 400ish. Nathan 198. Rambles angry, trying to attack. He's gonna get contaminated, which slows down how fast he can shoot his missiles. His missiles are his main thing, and he's got a PPD as well. PPD defensive being set up right there. Interceptors upgraded 21 now. That is finally a good amount of interceptor damage. However, it is later on in the game, so most people have some anti-interceptor abilities. We got Nikos is the fake one, still shows the abilities. Missile Pods. Now those are mostly Phantoms. In fact, entirely Phantoms. The Ghetto just sucked up right there. However, it does make the Tempest able to shoot the actual ones. Vortex swinging a miss. We have these Tempests do not know the difference between the Phantoms as well and the actual units, and they're just shooting everything. Eventually they will take them out. However, they're tanking some damage right there. We Contain being set up by Agam. Agam has Adrenal Overload, and he does have some spawn Broodlords and Corruptors. He's going to use his gas to protect them as well. Sunslinger's Tempests are going to try to shoot. Agam's going to try to get a little bit closer. He moved his Corruptors up to attack them as well. Monkeyfoot moving back. He's going to fly around. Agam has 16,500 life. He can keep on moving back to base. His Adrenal Overload is finally off cooldown. He can use it right there. It looks like the blue side is going to make it on back to base. He's going to try to attack. Everybody wants to take out John because he's theoretically the weakest unit as far as in terms of health. However, he's also smart. He's protecting himself. He's staying by Tempest. He knows that he can never really, even if he upgraded his health further, if you put like $400 or $500 into health, he could have more health. However, he will almost never have armor. He will almost never have that much health. So he knows he has to stay around these Tempests. He knows he's the high damage dealer. He's got the Kamehameha Blast at 2100 damage. However, he can't just go in there and attack without taking damage. He doesn't have very much damage taking abilities. Again, moving back. Shlosi wants to move up. We got the Plague. The Plague does hit him. Feedback being used to scare off the battlecruiser. These Tempests are going to keep on flying to base. They basically, once you set them down, they go from where they are to the mothership, the opposing mothership, and shoot anything that they can in the meantime. Even though the Guardian's over here, and even though they could probably finish him off if they shot him, they will not move because you can't control them independently. Monkeyfoot moving back. Alright, looks like Nikos has 523, Rambles 1233, Bolivar 484, Monkeyfoot, who's being healed, has about 500, Archer has about 400 right now. The red side wants to move up, they want to do some stuff. They know that this is the time that they have. Oh, feedback being used on Shlosi. He has longbow missiles at 10, so he's not totally, he only has 2 abilities. Even though he has 500 energy potential, he has his 2 abilities. He knows he's getting feedback all over the place. 498. Looks like, let's see what Rambles spent his like 1,200 money on. Looks like we got some sneaky Guardians. And it looks like, I think that will be spotted though. The red side says, okay, here we go again. We have, you know, a sneaky Guardian. So far, the blue side is not quite in the, you know, attacking mood. But oh my gosh, look at how many of these little guys all over the place. They don't last for very long, so I can't really click them all too well. But John is taking a whole bunch of damage from these you know, Broodlords, the Broodlings are being right there. Vortex being used, hits a battlecruiser right there. That is the real battlecruiser. Rambles launching his ion cannon. These Tempests being set up in the gas, so they have some vision blocked. It looks like Sunslingers are also set up. Great use of Darkstorm Protect yourself if you don't have you know your gas right there. You can create your own with the Guardian. This Wall of Tempest providing some level of defense. It looks like the Skyfears are also going to fly in there. This is a great place if you have, you know, if you want to make a last stand. But they are basically choosing whether they want to make the commitment of attacking, because most of these ships are relatively weak. There's no actual tanks anywhere. However, carriers are relatively low health. John surviving because of the you know, Sunslinger Vortex right there. And it looks like these Nikas, who's just going to be taken out, is a you know, Phantom. Let's see, we got a 634, 700. We got a Shlosi flying around. He does use his lockdown on Monkeyfoot. Monkeyfoot doesn't have any abilities though. But at this point in the game, it's kind of a reasonable assumption that there are you know, some upgrades. However, he doesn't have any. Except for warp jump. I often don't count that as an ability because it's kind of what most people get. I actually, even though I've been playing for many years, usually forget. But it is a super helpful ability to have. Helps you warp out of combat or into combat. If you warp out of combat and you take damage, then you stop doing that. So it's a little bit more risky out of combat than in. However, you know, it stops you from having to move all the way back just by your own speed. Again, flying up. The Wall of Tempest slowly moving up there. 1.35 speed is as fast as they possibly go, but you know, they will move up, and they made that defense of the tower right there. The Nikas doing a scan, making sure that there's nobody around them, in front of them. It's possible to warp trick with carriers, and especially with carriers with Vortex. Doesn't want to get caught off balance. Looks like Agam gonna fly on the side. These Tempests are dangerous. They are upgraded 480 per shot for Ghettos, and it looks like 580 for Sunslingers. With that, the blue side was trying to stay in this gas, but because there was interceptors, the interceptors gave vision of what's in that gas, and with that, it wasn't quite worth it. Vortex being used. Vortex does catch Nikas, the real Nikas and a fake Nikas. And it looks like Bolivar and the Arbiter are in the position where they have to fly around to choose whether they want to defend them. Monkeyfoot kind of flying in there. We got a Blackout being used on 1, 2, 3 units, one of them being fake. However, that is the fake Nikas that's taken out. Monkeyfoot so injured though. He's being greedy. He wants to move on back. I think that is taken out by Sunslinger. Red side finally making this a 5 versus 5. Rambles flying along the side. PDD being used to block right there. I think Rambles has to start going into using some of that 870, or almost 900 for Rip Wage. So many abilities right now. 623. Let's see where he ends up spending that on. Nikas 598. Bolivar 340. Rambles almost 900. The Guardian warped out just in time, by the way. He did try to set up these, you know, his brood right there. However, he can't, you know, survive forever. He's got the Needle Spines of 48. He, Guardians have range. However, they don't have very much splash AoE to damage to do against interceptors. So interceptors, even at 24, 60 damage, are pretty dangerous right there. Ghetto has about 400 to get on back to base and spend it on. Not very much for a carrier. 598 or 569 right there. Nice. For Sunslinger, Shlosi has 222. Nathan 179. 498 for John. They're going to get on back to base. They don't want to stay forever, even though they have Vortex, even though they have Blackout on relatively close to cooldown. They don't want to stay forever. That is the real Guardian right there, and I think John knows it, and he wants to attack them. You can actually tell if on the mini-map, if you see a ship outline, that's the real ship. If they have a little dot, like if you look on this mini-map over to the side, the little dots are the fake ones. However, he saw the real one. The Vortex being used against the BC. The BC boinged on the rocks and then was set up into this death trap of the Tempest. Will this be an actual death trap with all of the blue side around them? Two healers as well as fancy abilities. Again, trying to be healed. He can set up his Darkstorm as well. The Nikos being used, Blackout being used against Archer as well as Nikos. Nikos is going to move on around to the side. It looks like the Tempest were not able to do enough damage to take him out just right there. Shlosi moving in, trying to do some damage, but can't commit against everybody right there. And it looks like Rambles is going to fly around this side. He's going to be actually over here because that's the fake one. You even can confuse the caster sometimes. We got Bolo moving around the side. It looks like the red side is unable to get a kill, even with that setup right there. With the Tempest, kind of hammering against the anvil of the rock. The Nikos, because he had his defensive field, and because he upgraded a little bit more, he was able to take it out. PDD, blocking whatever you possibly can, but also necessity right there. Rambles does have Ripwave Warheads. Ripwave Warheads ignore PDD and add splash damage. That means John is in a serious world of hurt right there if he gets close. But he has to get somewhat close. Vortex being used, it does hit. And it looks like it does, Slowsy just on the edge as well. Will he make it back to base? He is being shot at right now. He only has, right there, Nathan. He did provide shields. He has 220 per second. However, it's not enough against all the amount of missiles, all the amount of ion cannon, and Shlozy is taken out. Shlusky. John gonna move on back to base. 644. Ghetto 420. 833 from Sunslinger. Nathan SCN has about 338. Looks like John should get range. He has range. He has some range, but he's getting some more. Overlord can upgrade his Psyblast range. He can upgrade his Plague range. However, he also can never take damage, so he kind of has to do so. These Zerg Tempests, which are Broodlords, are launching against the battle station, kind of set up, doing some damage. The Broodlings, hard to click on because they die relatively quickly. They do about a third of the damage of the Broodling strike. So whatever a third of 76 is what he had, and it was enough to take them out. Vortex didn't catch anybody, but made the blue side escape. The blue side is going to try to see if they can possibly get another kill. However, they know that there are two carriers with Vortex, both of them on a cooldown right now. This is the time that they can be a little bit more aggressive. However, they don't want to do that right there. Nikos, that does actually do some damage, missile pods. However, if the question is, I want to do damage to my ally but kill some interceptors, it's usually worth it, unless they're at like enough health for it to actually kill them. Like if they're about to die and you like kill them for your ally, for your enemy, it's probably not the best choice. However, if they're just in the area, if they're going to survive it, but the interceptors would kill them a lot more than your missiles would hurt them, it is worth it. Cost-benefit analysis. We got John trying to move in, do his stuff. However, he doesn't want to take that much damage. Nathan moving in there as well, trying to stay within this gas. And Nikos uses a scanner sweep to make sure that he knows that they're all within the gas. If you can see them, if you use a scanner sweep, you can see a good range on the map. Looks like a Gam's going to go all the way around the side. Will the blue side get another chance for a warp in? It does not quite look like it. They are relatively close out. However, this Guardian is moving all the way along to the side, and I think he's going to try to solo the base while this is happening. They do have a ship advantage. However, he's also going to go along the side and try to use his own little babies to do some damage. You can tickle down the mothership now that the Devastator missiles are disabled, now that the towers are gone. Blue side's going to move on back. Nikos 747, 1063, Bolivar 852. We got Rambles warped on in there. Cam going on the side. He's basically just set up. He's a little bit behind them. Will the red side notice this in time? On the minimap, they might not see it. They might. It looks like they are starting to retreat. John especially has to be protected by this PDD. Looks like Nathan has about 400 in storage right now of his potential 725. John launching his blaster against Rambles. Rambles taking a whole bunch of damage, launching his ion cannon, but the green gap right there, and Vortex being used. Vortex does catch the catch Rambles. Vortex again on the Guardian. And it looks like the Ghetto SC Tempest are going to fly around the side. Will they catch him in time? He has interceptors, he can launch them. Rambles in such a world of hurt, he's going to have to fly around, to fly the other way around, to let's see interceptors. The interceptors do so much damage, and the Archer protects him right there using Cloak. If he didn't use Cloak, he would have absolutely been taken out by the interceptors. The Gam taking a whole bunch of damage. He only has his allies and his buddies protecting himself, and he's going down. The interceptors are protecting, and again, the Archer cloaking field was protected two of his allies, but not quite enough. A Gam is taken out. The Guardian is gone. Although he was being guarded by cloaking field, eventually he just any lapse in that, the interceptors were doing some damage. These Bolivars flying in there, taking a whole bunch of damage. It's now 4 versus 4 again. This is funny. The Guardian was cloaked, or not cloaked. He was phantomed before he died. So this is just a fake. Again, flying around, and you know how we always die 2 deaths. One when we actually die. One when we people forget about you. He died the first time, and now he is 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 2, 1. And dead. Now he's gone. Gone forever. Gone for good. No respawn in this game. Makes this game super challenging because one mistake can end you. Incorrect combination of abilities, and you die. You make a simple mistake. You click the wrong button. You click the mini-map or something like that. You take one more Tempest shot than you're allowed to take, and you are gone. There is no respawn. And it looks like Blackout being used. 1, 2, 3 shots right there. Blue side's relatively far away. The Ghetto is only 1.61 speed. Up your speed. You have enough money for interceptors. You have enough money for range and Tempest and all that. You can't put in the at least the 1.71 speed. 1.81's better. It costs the extra 200 money. However, it's so easy to forget to upgrade. You see, these are minor mistakes that happen because you want to fill in a role of the interceptor person, the vortex person, the Tempest person. It's easy to forget other stuff, just, that otherwise would be helpful. He's been able to catch people with 1.61 speed, he's been able to escape with 1.61 speed, but when the average speed is about 1.71, and there are ships that do 2.12 speed, it's easier to get caught off guard. 1.92 speed, 2.02 speed, 212, 212. So the slowest person is 1.92 speed, this battlecruiser. John's relatively speedy, 1.92 speed, 1.91 speed, 7.1 from Sunslinger. So the carriers are generally pretty slow ships, but you can be a little bit less than super slow. You can be like slightly slower than everybody else instead of like super slower than everybody else. These Tempests pounding away at the Warp Prism, now at the Phantom. If the Phantom wasn't there to take all of these shots, this Warp Prism would have been taken out. And again, you can't tell the Tempest that, hey, you're shooting at a ghost. They're just going to fly on back. Looks like on the red side, unable to get a tower kill right there. Nikos flying around the side. It looks like interceptors flying away. Archer moving in. Now the red side, they are in defensive position. However, if you had to choose a team that is defensive, you probably could do a little bit worse than carriers with the Vortex. We got a Blackout from the Raven. We got John, who is a large walking gun with so many cool abilities. These are all fantastic defensive ships, especially now they have money. Hold Up being used. Archer taking a whole bunch of damage with the Plague. However, holding up Ghetto. Ghetto is relatively vulnerable right here. However, Rambles is also in the position where he might take some damage. We got Vortex being used as well. Oh, speaking of his Vortex from Sunslinger, that would have definitely changed things up right there. These Tempests providing a whole bunch of area of damage. Nikos, by the way, was over here trying to get into the back door. However, Tempests were saying no. And, protecting them, 700 damage per shot is nothing to be, messed around with right there. Even though he has an upgraded defensive shield, he doesn't want to do that for too long. John, he's getting some green love right there from Nathan. Nathan can't recharge the Overlord's shields because Overlords don't have shields. So the next best thing that he can do is give him defensive matrix. Surround the target with the unit with a shield that reduces damage to the minimum hits. Some hits will leak less for about 5 seconds. Basically what it does is stops Rambles from just stomping through with backlash rockets. 200 damage per missile, attacking 11 times at range 13. He upgraded it from shooting 6 times to shooting 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, costing more money every time he does it. However, making the math is it exponentially worse? Is it exponentially worse? Really? It's linear, but it's timesing something instead of plussing something. I'm only partially good at sounding like I know what I'm doing. But we have Nikos flying in there. He has the scanner sweep. He does have the defensive shield being used to protect himself against interceptors. Again, these interceptors are generally lower than they possibly could be. However, they're not weak by any standards. Look at all the plagued units right there. Even if some of the plagued units are not necessarily real, they are still plagued. Interceptors flying up the sides. Nikos using that scanner sweep. Again, there's no like sneaky void range, there's no cloaking of fields or anything like that. However, once he uses the scanner sweep, it reveals the positions of all enemy ships on the map and detects close units in a close radius, and it lasts for 12 seconds, basically making sure that there's nothing sneaky going on, nothing on the side, because the last thing you'd want is to get vortexed and be caught off guard with it. We got the 1-2 combination, the Vortex and the Tempest. Tempest providing such an area of damage, and the Vortex taking somebody effectively off the map for a second swing, and a miss plague right there. John saying, you know where I feel safe? I feel safe with all these Tempests. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, look how much damage the Tempests are doing. 700 and 560. The weakest Tempests are doing 560 damage at 18 range. The strongest ones are doing 19 range at 700 damage. And looks like Rambles 835, Nikos 1255, Bolivar about 800 right there as well. And I skipped Archer. Archer has 824, and he might have even spent some money right there. Red side. This is the time where they can farm, however, they don't want to, be caught off guard, so they're just trying to farm at where they are. Looks like these Tempests being set up, Interceptors flying up. Interceptors have about half of the upgrades in plating right there. In other versions of Star Battle, it's a little bit different than exactly half. However, in Star Battle Omega, it is exactly half. So 30 upgrades, 15 armor and plasma shields. You can click on Interceptors in combat, however you may forget while doing so. He has 525 energy. He can, and he's just keeping it on Ripwave warheads. It costs, if it wasn't there, it starts off with 40 and then upgrades every time you get more missile attacks. So it does cost him a whole bunch of energy, like 60 per shot. However, it's worth it when you can do some area of effect damage. Red side being very cautious but very smart, moving back to base. They say, hey, listen, we can try to catch them off base, or we can try to catch them in base. They have the vortices, and they have the Tempest ability, so if they can catch them while they're at base, they have the entirety of the map to catch up with their Interceptors and do some damage. We've got sneaky Arbiter action right here, going around the rocks, leaving their allies vulnerable to attacks. However, Nikos has no reason to stay in the danger zone for any longer than he has to. 1.92 speed, he's relatively speedy. John's going to try to attack him though, because he has a little bit more about the same level of speedy. This is just an Overlord on battlecruiser chase. He doesn't commit to it. We got Vortex being used on the looks like on the Phantom right there. The feedback being used against Ghetto. 625 in potential energy, but he has to go back to base. He has about 100 left afterwards. And John, unable to get that kill on the battlecruiser. Actually, relatively dangerous, fight. But one he possibly could have taken. However, that would have left him all the way up at map with the entire blue side able to catch him if he did not get the kill. Very dangerous. It's always a razor's edge because there is no respawn. If you don't kill somebody, you will probably get killed by your kill right there. This wall of Tempest being set up. PDD all over the place, feedback being used, 725 potential energy, slams it down with feedback right there. He's going to get drained, however, he has enough that he can rebuild after he's being taken down. He is Chumbawambaing all over the place, getting knocked down, getting back up again. There are so many frigates. There's an entire fleet of frigates right here, and they're all being controlled by Rambles. Rambles moving them on in, and they just look so scary, and they can take so much damage. These Tempests, now that was a very, very smart move right there. It's subtle, but it's very smart. The blue side went around the side where the Tempests weren't. The Tempests are just going to keep on flying to base, and for a little while right now, the blue side is relatively safe. Now, if they fly into this Tempest range, they won't be. However, they're kind of like flying along the side, making sure they don't get shot by Tempests. And the Tempests are going to keep on flying until they die. Eventually they will be, because there's always some Vikings and Phoenixes in the area. However, for a while they had the advantage because the red side's Tempests were away. Now that the Tempests are back, they are a little bit less so. Nikas flying in there, taking a whole bunch of damage, using his defensive shield. He upgraded again. 2100, then I think it's like 20, I don't know, 7, 8, 30 up there, and then 4300 damage. There's pings on the map. Ghetto's he has the battlecruiser in the vortex right now. Will the blue side commit? These Tempests are just shooting right now. They're in a great position. Will this be enough though? John right there has the side blast. He can use it right there. Nikas taking a whole bunch of damage. Plague being used. He uses his own defensive shield, and then there's also Archer to protect him right now. Bolivar gonna fly in there and try to hurt some Sunslingers. Tempest wasn't quite enough to kill them though. You can't upgrade how strong the Tempests are. You can only upgrade how much damage they are. So they're always gonna have 100 shields, always gonna have 200 life, never gonna have any more than 0 armor. But all he has is Phase Disruptors, which are upgraded, however, not quite enough. The Tempest was shooting at the Phantom though. Otherwise, Archer probably would have been unable to do whatever damage he did. We got a Storm on the Interceptors, technically protecting the Phantom unit. However, mostly just killing off some Interceptors. Nikas flying in, taking some damage. And looks like he's out of energy right now. Interceptors on him. He has 37 armor at 1.92 speed, so he's relatively strong. He's relatively fast. However, Interceptors are pretty fast as well. They're at 2.5 speed, and they do 48 damage of the Interceptors. Looks like and 72 for Ghetto. Ghetto's Interceptors, which would have 15 armor. Blue side moving on back. They looks like Rambles. 1534, Bolivar 1090, Nikas 1419, and Archer at 873. Bringing up the caboose, but still has a whole bunch of money. And it looks like what are they gonna end up spending it on? Rambles, he may end up just getting more damage. Yep, look at that 2.02 speed. He's super speedy, and so many missiles. 263 times 11 at 13 range. If he's not being blocked by PDD, and he's using his Ripwave Warheads, then that's also area of effect damage. Red side, moving back, not trying to mess with them, even though the it's an even amount of ships. Even though they have some really cool stuff, they want to be defensive. The cost of being defensive is that there's less money at your own base than at the opponent's base. But the advantage is you don't die, so that's always a good one as well. Nathan, 275, 320, 370, 74, almost 755 for Ghetto, and 530 for John. They're not making as much money as the blue side is, because the blue side is in the Goldilocks zone, basically right here, right in the middle. However, they also aren't putting themselves at risk. Sunslinger Tempest being set up. Again, he saw what happened last time when he put the Tempest out, just to have them fly out, and the blue side to go around the ring, around the Rosy Rocks, and these Interceptors moving on in 72 damage. Storm is being used, all the Interceptors going to be taken out, and looks like Ghetto's going to have to warp them back in. He does have Warp in. Full energy right there. Sunslinger as well has the Warp in as well. Plasma Surge being used. There's a holdup on Nathan's season. Vortex right there. He catches his own Interceptors. We got a Vortex being used again though against the battle cruisers. We got the fake Rambles right there. Ion Cannon being used. Nathan right there is taken out by Rambles. These Ion Cannons and Backlash Rockets and everything, and Lightnings and Parris and Vortexes. Oh my, we got the Interceptors flying in, hurting Archer. Archer can't use his cloaking field on himself, can only cloak his allies. The Interceptors unable to pick up a kill right there. Distracted by all these fake ones right there. John trying to fly in, wants to do some damage against against Rambles, but look how much. One round of missiles is probably enough to take him out. I'm not great at math, but I think that is actually relatively accurate. 263 times 11. And we have the blue side moving back, able to get a kill right there. 3 versus 4. Interceptors flying in. Golden Armada moving out. Tempos. Ghetto moving back. Vortex on cooldown. Doesn't want to risk it right there. Ion Cannon being used right now. Does extra damage. Ghetto flying in there and taken out by Rambles as well. These missiles are just so good, and there's no PDD to block them. If even with the potential of Ripwave warheads, it looks like Rambles is going to fly in there. Blue side's going to use this time to their advantage. Especially Sunslinger. I want to click the Sunslinger. Let me see the Sunslinger. Here comes the Sun's little slinger. Vortex on cooldown, and this is not going to be enough. I think that's going to be GG. I think they realized that the walls are closing in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to send your replays to MaffumanCasting@gmail.com. Press like, press subscribe. We are doing StarCraft Star Battle all the time.